All right, welcome to Wednesday's factoring review. Remember, every time we factor, we first ask ourselves, is there a GCF? And the second thing we do is we factor. And after we check if there's a GCF, we always check, is A equal to 1 or is A greater than 1? Remember, A is that number out in front right here. So let's take a look at this first one. Is there a GCF? Is there a number that multiplies to 3, 10, and 8? Well, actually there isn't. The only number that multiplies to 3 is 3 and 1, and 3 doesn't multiply to 10 or 8. So there actually isn't a GCF here. And not only is there not a GCF, A is greater than 1. And I'm just going to tell you right now that for this whole page for today, there's going to be no GCF, and A is going to be greater than 1. So we're just going to practice that skill for today. Okay, so we want to hold on to this skill of asking ourselves what kind of factoring it is, but I'm going to tell you it's all the same today. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, there's no GCF, so I'm going to right away get into this. Okay, and when I get into this, I know that this times this equals this. And this times this equals this, right? And then remember that this times this plus this times this equals that middle term. All right, so that's our basic kind of directions. So two numbers that multiply to 3 are 3 and 1, so this is going to be 3x, and x is going to give us 3x squared. And then for 8, it could be 8 times 1, or it could be 4 times 2. And I notice here everything is positive, so I'm going to throw in two positive signs right here and just start. I'm just going to start with 2 and 4, and notice I'm writing them nice and light. I might have to move things around. So 3x times 4, that's 12x plus 2x. Okay, that doesn't add to 10x, that adds to 14. So let's go ahead and try to switch these. Now I'm going to try 4 and 2, and if that doesn't work, I'll cross off 4 and 2 and try 8 and 1. Let's see. 3x times 2, that's 6x plus 4x. Oh, hey, that does equal 10x, so I'm just going to go ahead and write it a little bit darker, and I'm done. Okay, that's my answer. Let's try the next one. Okay, I remember that this times this has to equal this, so that's right away going to be 5x times x, right? 5 times 1 is 5, x times x is x squared. And then this times this is going to have to equal negative 15. Now, here I'm multiplying to a negative, so that means I need one positive, one negative. Now, I'm going to put the signs here. I might have to switch them. That's okay. Okay, I'll figure that out down the road. But I know that I'm going to have one positive, one negative to multiply to 15. And to multiply to 15 could be 1 times 15, could be 3 times 5. So let's just go ahead and try. I notice this is kind of a big number, right? 22 is kind of a big number. So right away I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to multiply this 5. I'm going to try 3 and 5 first. But like if I multiply 5 times 3, that would only be 15. I'm going to multiply the 5 times the 5. And then I'm going to put the 3 right here. And let's see what happens. 5 times negative 5 is negative 25x plus 3x. Oh, hey, you know what I got? I got negative 22x. So my numbers, right? My sign is wrong, right? So I did get 22, but I got negative 22. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to switch the signs, right? So this was positive, I'm going to make it negative. This was negative, I'm going to make it positive. And then look what happens. 5x times 5 is positive 25. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And now I have positive 22. And that's my answer. Okay, and notice I just took a moment to kind of pause and say to myself, that's kind of a big number. Let me see if I can multiply two bigger numbers together and see if I can get that number. All right, last example. In this one, I know that this times this equals this, so that's going to be 2x times x. I observe here that my two numbers are going to multiply to be a positive, but then when I add them together, they're going to end up being negative. So I'm going to go ahead and put my signs, which is negative, negative. That's the only way I can multiply to a positive and add to a negative, right? And then remember, as always, I'm checking, right? This times this and this times this has to equal this. But these two numbers will multiply to be 30. Oh, lots of choices here. Could be 1 times 30, could be 2 times 15, could be 3 times 10, could be 5 times 6. Ooh, lots of possibilities. So let's just start. Let's start with 3 and 10. So I'm going to do 3, 10. So 2x times 10, that's negative 20x minus 3x. Okay, that's negative 23x, so that's a no. Let's try to switch. If I do 10 and 3, that's negative 6x minus 10x. That's negative 16x. That's also no. Close, though. Right, I'm looking for 17. So I tried 10 and 3 both ways. Let's cross that off. Let's try 5 and 6. 2 times 6 is 12, so that's negative 12x minus 5x. Oh, hey, that's negative 17. So I am good. Let me just write it a little bit neater. This is 5 and 6. Okay, and there's my